'Tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back, glad to see you looking fresh. So, I don't know how many of you remember the game Jetpack Joyride, but for me and my friends way back in 2011, 2012 when the game came out, was one of the best. You know, it didn't matter that it was on mobile, it didn't matter that we had to play it on our iPod touchers at the time, and it was just one of the most fun games we could all play together. We all sit around the lunch table and we'd all talk about it, and it seems kind of crazy now that such a simple game could bring us all together in such a fun way. And I lost so much time into this game. So much time going through the years and on long car rides, and like I said, the lunch table, we couldn't use our iPods and phones during lunch hours, but before school, that was always a big thing, like on bus rides. Lost a lot of time there to it, and I'll tell you what, I spent so much time in this game originally that I had like every jetpack unlocked. I had every upgrade to every rideable, what are they called? They're the upgrades, the machines that you can ride on, whether it's the Dragon or the Little Stomper or the Gravity Suit, whatever. I had upgrades to all of them. I had the coin upgrade, I had the golden variant, I was maxed out. Now, unfortunately, somewhere along the years, upgrading through different iPods to eventually iPhones, and I lost the data somewhere along the road, and now I have to kind of restart, but I'll never get back to where I once was, which is unfortunate, but it's a nice little memory to think back on. But on the positive side, while I can look back and I can think of all the great times I had with that, and that game is still being updated to this day. There was the Sam update where every day now you can be in a big mech suit, and that's kind of crazy. That wasn't around when I first started. And there's also tie-ins with famous movies, like apparently there's a Back to the Future thing. Right now there's a Ghostbusters thing going on, and I've played the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one. Those are fun little extras to play in the game, but at the end of the day, it is an endless runner, and there's only so much you can do with that. Or at least I thought, because there's a sequel. There is a sequel to Jetpack Joyride, aptly named Jetpack Joyride 2, which follows our character of Barry back at it again, and there's a new character, Betty, which just plays as a character swap or a costume swap, much like the first game. I would say it's kind of the same, but it's also not the same at the same time, if you get what I'm saying. While the first one very much focuses on being an endless runner, which at the time was the thing to do. And like I said, Jetpack Joyride was the best at it. It was by far the best. Some people say like Temple Run is the best endless runner, and I don't agree. There's, the Angry Birds fans who, I guess they won in the long term because they got 2 movies and they got entered the pop culture zeitgeist a lot more. But for me and my friends, I think we all agree that Jetpack Joyride is the best. So the sequel, I heard earlier this year was coming, and I was very intrigued. And unfortunately, it's locked behind Apple Arcade, which I'm not sold on. I don't understand it. I'd much rather pay for an app once than have to pay a monthly fee to play a bunch of apps. But whatever. I guess Apple needed more money. So they have this thing, Apple Arcade, you can play the game, and Jetpack Joyride 2. And is an endless runner, but it's not. It plays the same as the first game, but it mixes genres up. Instead of endless running forever, you do levels now. So it's not endless at all, really. There's an end. And it becomes a shoot 'em up or a bullet hell at times, where you gun and you start blasting robots and incoming missiles, and you can dodge them, but you can also shoot them for more money and different upgrades. And that's the thing with this game, is they really went overboard with the different upgrades and menuing. Oh my god, there's menus everywhere. There's a menu for this, and there's a menu for that. There's a menu to upgrade your weapons, and you can get different upgrades, and you can unlock new vehicles, and you can have a factory which daily gets you more coins and more upgrades. And then there's a weird thing where you have to smack tentacles away, and I feel like they really were like, what are we gonna do with a sequel to Jetpack Joyride? And they just went with, let's throw everything at it and see what sticks. Because there's a lot. It's a full game. I was surprised more than anything. I expected just, a new coat of paint, like a new song, like different backgrounds, whatever. That's what I was expecting from a sequel to a mobile game. But it's more than what I expected. I'm not sure if I like it more or not. I'm not sure if I'm going to sit here and tell you that, like, oh, you got to get Apple Arcade. You got to play this new Jetpack Joyride. It is fun. It is a good distraction, which I think the best mobile games are. That they're very good distractions. This game has like more than just the shoot 'em up stuff. Like, you play a level and it gets progressively harder as the level goes on, and every level is a little bit harder than the last. And my biggest problem with that is that at the beginning of the level, the enemies feel like nothing. You feel like you shoot them twice and they explode, and then at the end, they're just complete bullet sponges, and you got to shoot them a lot. And it becomes more of that, like, bob and weave, like the first game did, just in a new light. Which is interesting to keep that playstyle alive in the new game. It's just in a whole new, fresh take, which the sequel should do. It also adds new additions, like there's a whole arcade. Interesting, it's an arcade in the Apple Arcade. The arcade mode where, like, you can play different versions. Like, there's a soccer game where you just are playing a goalie and you're just protecting a goal from robots trying to make points on you, and the longer you go, the more points you get, and that's a nice little fun addition as well. And there's a ton of upgrades, and you unlock coins, and you can kind of gacha roll to unlock new stuff, and that's where the whole, like, mobile game part comes in. Is you want new jetpacks, you have to use gems instead of the coins you unlock, which is a shame because the first game did that really well, where if you played the game a lot, you could always be getting it, and there are the dailies that you can do, you sign on bonuses and stuff. This doesn't do the shopping aspect as good, but I get it. And mobile games have changed a lot, even from 10 years ago. So also in this new game, there's new upgrades. Like I guess in the first game, there are different vehicles you can play as. And that's true in this one as well. The little Stomper's back, and it's been upgraded to call it the Big Stomper, so that's neat. There's a cool new one where you get in a spaceship and to fly around space, and that really emphasizes the shoot 'em up version. And there's more to unlock, and I think this is a game that they will continuously unlock more and more and more. And not only that, there's not only vehicles to play around with, there's also different guns that you get because it becomes a shoot 'em up. There's a lot of different guns that it gives you. There's one where it becomes kind of a shotgun. It just shoots 3 bullets instead of 1. There's a flamethrower. There's a huge beam attack, and that's pretty neat. So it does play around with that whole, like, grab the floaty thing. And, yeah, on top of that, the floaty things floating through the air. The first game, there was a crank where you would crank, and at the end of the game, you would spin a wheel, and you'd unlock new things, whether that was extra lives or a head start or just coins. This one doesn't have any of that. There's a lot more things floating around. There are coins, like always, and there's gems, which are just more coins, and there's also health, because in this one, it's not a one-hit kill like in the first one. This one, you have a couple hits in you, and you can mess up once or twice without instantly failing the level, and you can keep going, which is an interesting concept. But to restart, like the first one, you can unlock hearts, whether it's through the crank or through other means. I think a login bonus, and you can unlock more hearts that way. In this one, it costs gems, and the gems that you use to buy things, and it's a pretty expensive cost to keep going. But that's a thing you can do, and that is an addition to the game. So I do hope that some of the other vehicles will find their way back in. Mr. Cuddles, the dragon, was always a favorite of mine, and I really hope to see him again. The gravity suit would be really good again. Just all of them. I don't like the teleporter. That one can stay out, but the rest of them are pretty neat, and I think that they all should have come back already. I don't know why they wouldn't. I feel like it would be smart if you're making a sequel to have the part that I think everyone's favorite part was the vehicles, to bring them all in, and then you can just add more. But that's just me. That's just my thoughts on that. You know, it is very weird. I would have thought that, like, oh, we would have 2 of these. I always thought that was the type of game where you can just kind of keep working on it little by little, and new updates and whatnot. And like I said, there's still different events going on. Like I said, right now, as recording this, there is a Ghostbusters level you can play. In the original, not in the new one, the original, where you can unlock a new costume and a new suit, and it's fun. it's a fun little addition, reason to keep coming back. And like I said, I don't have nearly the time I used to, and I don't have nearly the drive that I used to go back and play a ton of Jetpack Joyride. But if I did, I could see myself getting lost and trying to unlock all the jetpacks again. There's a lot to see and a lot to do, and it's fun. Simply fun. And that's why I still say that the original is still the best mobile game out there. I'm sure there are others that people love, but to me, I don't think it'll ever be topped, because the Endless Runner is the perfect genre for mobile devices, and it's the peak of that genre. So, in my opinion, it'll never be topped, even by its own sequel, which tries. I'll give it that. It very much tries. Half Brick Studios did what they could. They put out a sequel that doesn't feel like a rehash. It does feel like it's trying something new and trying to innovate and trying to be a new game, which is a good thing. So, have you played Jetpack Joyride or Jetpack Joyride 2? If not, absolutely play the first one. If you can play the second one, I don't know if it's like an Apple Arcade exclusive. If it is, then I'm sorry to Samsung, or if you have a Google or whatever, that I guess you can't. But if you can, I would say give it a try. It's a free trial it. I wouldn't pay that much for it. But if you sounds interesting to you and this gameplay seems fun to you, then go ahead and give it a shot. But let me know your thoughts. If you have memories on the first game, as always, please let me know. And that'll about do it for me. Thank you so very much for watching. As always, like this if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.